Hi everyone, I am Julie Roth Novack. I am the CEO and co-founder of PartySlate. I am so excited to be here at the Garrity with Kehoe Designs and BlackOak to do my first hybrid virtual event. Tom Kehoe, thank you so much for hosting us today and being here. I think I met you when I was first starting PartySlate maybe 5 years ago, and I was stalking you like, Tom Kehoe, oh my God, Tom Kehoe, amazing. And I remember how supportive you were when I was starting the business, so I want to thank you so much.
Well, what you've done with this in such a short time is so impressive.
Thank you so much. Well, today, as usual, you guys are really innovating. We're in this crazy situation with COVID, coronavirus, where we want to continue doing these events. The world is starting to open back up slowly, and we can't go back to the 500,000 person event, at least right away. We want to stay safe. So many people are doing these virtual events, including PartySlate. Every week we're doing digital education on Pinterest, on Instagram, on PartySlate. But now we're starting to see the 50-person event, the 100-person event. The guest lists are getting cut, but you want to include everyone in the event. Right. And so I would love, I guess I will go to the next slide, how I would define a hybrid event is really the combination of an in-person live event with the virtual component. And so before we go too much into the topic today, could you tell us a little bit, Tom, how you got started in the events industry? You have a great founding story, and the business you've built today is massive and so impressive. I would love just to tell that journey of how you got started.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you. I'm thrilled to be here with you. This is awesome. And to have this opportunity to keep our events and our world going strong, because it is coming back. So 100% there with you. I had the pleasure of starting out by going to buy flowers for my mom in a flower shop. Overheard they needed a driver. I started working in the flower shop, then ended up buying the flower shop right after college, and then just it developed and kind of grew organically into what we have today with 17 departments, from flowers, fabric, furniture, lighting, tech, custom builds, it's
amazing. And you also have a plant division.
Yes.
I love this set, so I might take a plant home with me.
I hope you do.
I like free things. Is that bad? No, I'm not going to take your set. I'm just kidding. But you've built this incredible business, and you have such a great brand. And when coronavirus hit, I mean, it was pretty shocking to all of us. The first week was kind of, shock, and then the next week was, what are we going to do? You were very quick to start thinking about virtual events and other services. Walk us through how that happened.
Well, it really, like you, I was in shock and thought, okay, this is going to be a short-term, couple-week thing, and then was like, no, this is going to stick around. This is going to be a little bit longer than 2 weeks. And then trying to figure out, okay, we have a whole entire team that we need to keep moving. And let's pivot, let's think, what can we do? And so we literally went through each brand and said, what can we do? We took our floral exhibits team and we created the gardens, our green market gardens.
I love green market gardens. I did buy a plant.
Aren't they so fun?
Last week, yes.
Yeah, they're fun, they're great. People love it. They're so well received. Everyone wants greenery. They want to be out. They want to bring the green into their home.
Yes.
Everyone's spending more time at home, obviously. And then, looking at different ways of pivoting, then we took our creative service team and we did our events to go.
Yes.
And,
I got the spa box.
Did you?
And my daughter and I, we had a party at home. It was amazing.
Awesome.
Very creative.
Everything from spa night to cocktails in the park to a fiesta, like all these fun things. And then really we designed that so that we can piggyback those into events.
Yes.
So, and we have one happening tonight. I'll tell you about it later. Okay. But where you can work in those events, so when the event is virtual, the guests can receive a box and have the
so they feel
core
part
elements.
of it.
Right. They've got something tactile that's interactive.
Yes.
That's really part of it. And then pivoting, BlackOak and saying, okay, great, how do we take and develop virtual events?
Yes. And BlackOak is your technical AV. I don't know the right words to use, because I don't understand all the guys. I'm going to show them later what they're doing in the background, but they're the people that, let's say you have a live event of 1,000 people, they were the people that are making sure the video, the audio, the lighting, everything is coordinated and seamless.
Correct.
And then with the world of virtual events, you already had that skill set, you just layered in the virtual broadcasting, and of course many more things.
Right. exactly.
done.
Spot.
Okay. See, I get it.
You did a perfect, right,
My
exactly.
co-founder says I'm not technical. See, I'm technical.
You are.
I get it.
Yes, you get it. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So what we're going to talk about today, I'm really excited about, is the reasons you'd want to host a virtual event. So and a hybrid event, specifically where you're doing something like this. Maybe it could be a wedding, it could be a mitzvah, it could be a gala or a corporate event. You may have 50 people that are in person with you, celebrating food, wine, everything, social distance. But then the rest of the audience could be joining at least part of it through the virtual connection. So we're going to talk about that.
Right.
Then we're going to talk about the steps to produce a hybrid event. And I've learned so much already just doing this event with you guys. So thank you. You're teaching me.
Good.
And then we're going to talk about what this team actually does. And I think, again, there's so many incredible event planners and producers that have done 1,000-person event, but haven't yet done a virtual event. And I'm just excited to, not only my learning, I'm hoping that everyone that's joining can also learn what these key roles are. And then we're going to talk about resources on PartySlate to help both professionals and, we call them consumers, party hosts that have budget to do these. I know I'm kind of in the gala world here in Chicago with 3 or 4 boards that I've served on, and they can't afford to skip a year for their fundraising.
Right.
I mean, for cancer research, we would raise 80% in one single night. Yep. They can't afford it. So this is such a great opportunity for these charities that really need mission critical funds. So I'm excited to talk more about that. So
Great.
Hopefully I didn't skip anything. So let's start first our little fireside chat, or our, what should I call this? Our Garrity side chat. This is an incredible venue that that you own and operate here, that we're at today. Why would people want to host a hybrid event versus just, me on my digital webinars at home with my $39 ring light? That's how.
That makes you glow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wipes out the wrinkles. Yes. So why would people want to host a hybrid event?
Really, when you need to bring your event to the next level.
Yeah.
You need a high-end quality production.
Yes.
So everything from the lighting, the sound, the video,
yes.
It's at a much higher quality
yes.
than what you could do on your own.
Yes.
And
I almost compare it to like a TV show. My
100%.
dream one day is to be, I don't know how it's going to happen, to either get on the Oprah show or have an Oprah-like show. So this is maybe the closest I'm going to get.
Just
here.
Julie.
Just Julie. I don't know what I'll talk about, but
I'm sure you can think of something.
Okay, but it feels like a TV production.
It is, and we built the set that we're sitting in.
Yes, it's beautiful.
And we also built another set.
My team wants this every week. That's okay.
Yes, come on, every week. I feel like we could do this,
yeah,
right,
okay,
guys?
Right.
Yeah. And we could build any type of set.
Yes.
So we built a wedding ceremony set.
Yes.
That's just a great skeleton.
Yes.
For someone.
And we posted those on your profile pages, so we're going to show it later. But
okay.
It's beautiful that you can do a wedding with 15 people, but have this high production value. People will feel like they're there.
Yes, and we did it so that it's a really reasonably priced.
Yes.
Wedding, because we understand the host scale.
Yeah.
But you can then have your small crowd that's social distancing approved.
Yes.
And then reach out to everyone, and your guests can interact.
Yes.
And that's the best part.
That's amazing.
It is. And so
that.
everything from a wedding to a corporate to a fundraiser.
Yes.
We have a fundraiser tonight that we did.
Yes. And how is that going to work as a fundraiser? Yeah.
So this one is for NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Illness.
Yeah.
And ESP Presents brought them to us, Sarah and Matt. They're amazing here in Chicago for so many years, and they do great events. And they brought it to the Garrity probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes.
And it's a 600-person live event. This year they said, we need to keep this event happening.
Yes.
We need to raise money like you just said. So they brainstormed and put this entire thing together, where we then created our event. It's all digital.
Yeah.
It's a virtual event tonight that is everything from pre-recorded presentations of awards, message pre-recorded, and then interactions of different hosts.
Yes.
And then the key thing that I think is really important is we created boxes that were part of the centerpieces. And so events to go, we did a centerpiece, teamed up with Blue Plate, who is the caterer.
Yeah.
So 500 guests are going to receive a centerpiece and a dinner delivered to their home tonight. And then they are, besides the dinner and the centerpiece, they also sold tickets for viewing. So you could view and be part of the event without having, they had different price levels. You could buy the dinner, buy the centerpiece, buy the viewing option. And so they were still able to sell all their tickets. They sold 800 tickets.
That's amazing.
It is.
I have like goosebumps on this just because, again, I've been involved with these charities that are really important to me, like cancer research. And I know people might say, well, why do you have to spend the money? Why can't they just give? And I will just tell you, after 20 years of fundraising, it is a value exchange. You do have to get people engaged
Absolutely.
and create an experience.
Yeah.
And for creating that experience, that's when you can actually get them to open their checkbook and make the donation, because it's not the ticket price that makes the money for the charity, it's actually the donation
Correct.
that they give. And I think people don't understand, like, why do you have to have these fancy galas? I'm telling you, they don't raise the money without the fancy gala.
And you asked earlier, what's the reason of why do we
Yeah.
do these? That is the reason why.
Yeah.
We still need to create an experience,
Yeah.
that all of us will experience, to know and learn and
Yeah.
know what the organization is doing,
Yes.
or be part of a wedding,
Yeah.
or be part of a special event, whether it's a birthday or a private. It's an experience,
Yeah.
and those are memories that you create.
Exactly.
And that's
And I always
why,
talk about
that's
it,
the
not to
key.
get too business geeky, but I always tell these charities that it's a recurring revenue stream.
Yeah.
You need to get the check the next year. If you don't have a great experience this year, and you have like a bad chicken dinner and a bad speaker and the audio's not working, I'll just be honest, you don't want to go back next year.
Right.
And so again, it shouldn't maybe be that way. It should all be about the charity. But again, after 20 years of doing fundraiser for important causes that I really care about, the event and the experience is directly tied to how much you can raise for the charity. So I'm so
100%,
glad that you guys are doing that. So
Good.
just to jump in on the steps to produce a hybrid event, and I'm going to, this recording, and I'm going to send the deck to everyone who's, we had over 500 people RSVP, and I know the people on the panel, loved any questions you guys have. I forgot to mention, you can actually ask to all attendees and panelists so people can see your questions. We have our editor, Pamela, who's going to be moderating the questions, so please ask questions as we go along so we can jump in. So the steps to produce a hybrid event. Like any event, you need a strategy, your purpose. I mean, if it's a wedding, you kind of know what the purpose is, but for a corporate event or a gala, you really have to map out. We have an event brief. Again, we're kind of geeky, like we write it down, what is the purpose? You need to know your target audience, you need to line up your team. You may decide that, again, the home kit or Zoom is enough, like our weekly geeky digital webinars, it's enough to do it at home. People said my background's not so great like this, like maybe I can upgrade my angle of my camera. But for us, being a startup, that it works for us. But for, again, these other events that I know, it's not enough. So you need to come up with who's your team, your concepting. People always ask me, what's the right platform? And I know you feel the same way, like picking Zoom or other platform, that's like an afterthought to really putting a strategy together for your event. Then you need to have your whole run of show, and I like to talk about contingency planning. I love,
Like
we're
a
going to
rain
show these
plan.
guys, and then later on behind the scenes, when it's just me and Kylie, like our contingency plan is, if I get bumped out, Pamela's leading it. If Pamela gets bumped out, then Kylie, we have our whole plan. But for you guys with this professional setup, you've plan A, B, and C,
Right.
and you probably don't even need plan A, B, and C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Go ahead.
control center,
Yes.
controls it all.
Yes.
And that's what what
Yes.
helps A, B, and C
Yes.
stay in place.
Yes, and I like to compare it to, like, when you think about Lollapalooza and they have those massive control areas and, like, they're blocking your view, whatever. These guys are, and again, it's probably behind the stage too, are controlling every stage, sound, light, everything. For an event, again, when you raise the stakes, you need someone that's in that control room,
Right.
whether they're front of house or back of house.
Yep.
And then you also need to produce your creative elements, whether you're having food or whatever, dry runs. I put multiple dry runs. And then finally, then executing the event. So going live, we always say the post-marketing event is just as important as pre and during.
Sure.
So we package up the recording, landing pages. We're a content marketing machine at PartySlate, so that's what we do naturally. But tell me, you're planning this event tonight. You've done 15, 20 of these large-scale, highly produced events. Walk me through your process on to do these events.
So, the first thing is to really understand the audience.
Yes.
And knowing what the attention span of the audience will be.
Yes.
Because most of the programs need to be shortened.
Yes.
Because they're at home, they're
Yes.
distracted.
You don't
it's
want a
easy.
3-hour.
No. You
event.
need a
Yeah.
short-term,
Yes.
window.
And also when you have people here, I forgot to mention, you need to coordinate even if it's 50 people or 20
Correct.
people. That's even
The
more
whole
stressful.
flow, right?
Yes.
Because especially jumping in, like a mixture of having a live audience, with a virtual audience
Yes.
you know, that's a whole different dynamic, and entertaining
Yes.
both audiences.
Yes.
And the key of getting those two audiences to interact
Yeah.
and entertain each other
Yes.
is a third level.
Yes.
You know, but knowing your audience,
Yeah.
knowing the attention span, creating the set and the environment,
Yes.
and then pulling in different elements that will do just the entertainment, the education,
Yes.
the message.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of the event or the gathering or the reason for,
Yes.
you know, the broadcast?
Yes, and then once you go into production mode, we'll talk a little bit later about kind of the key roles, and we'll kind of give a scene
Sure.
behind the curtain on what everyone's doing. That's really where it begins. You know, all these key roles are pulled into action, but they have the whole plan.
Yeah.
I always like to compare it to, like, you know, the person with the checklist that maybe it's digital now, but like the clipboard, the, you know, like
Earpieces,
the
right.
earpieces,
Yep.
yeah, the high tech
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
that's multiple layers of a team
Yes.
that really help produce it.
Awesome. So when do you need kind of a professional, what I call a technical producer, I think that's the title that you gave it, versus, you know, you have something that you actually sell a home kit, there's other things that you can do. When do you, like, when is that tipping point where some people might be like, wow, this looks really, I'll be honest, looks expensive, I don't know if I need this. What is that tipping point where you're like, I can't do this, I shouldn't be doing this myself?
Really, when you decide at what level you want to present yourself.
Yes.
And of course, it's more expensive than doing it at home.
Yes.
But it's still obtainable. It's still,
Yeah.
you know, reasonable and within, and you can control it
Yes.
depending on how elaborate you want it to go.
Exactly.
Just like any event.
Yeah.
You know, whether you want something simple.
You just
or
really need to scope
blow
it.
it out.
You need to, you know,
Correct.
so if you're going to create a custom video, you know, that's a, you know,
Yep.
different scope than just doing a live event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can come in and do a really simple,
Yeah.
have a great center backdrop, you
Yeah.
know, a central focal,
Yeah.
but simple, modest,
Yes.
low budget.
Yeah, and like you
have a
said,
big
for your
effect.
wedding package, you know, that's a different level
Right.
than a conference for 1,000 people.
Correct.
That you have a lot of different multimedia coming in.
Right, but it's blending all of the key elements.
Yes.
That's
The key.
right.
And so what I've learned in working with you, but also producing big PartySlate events, is that the difference from going to like this level to that level, especially for hybrid or virtual events, is really about lighting, audio, and video. Like
Correct.
those are the three elements. And then at the middle, my beautiful graphic, my team doesn't like when I do these three circles, but it works, right? In the middle is kind of this control, like the centralized control. Tell me a little bit about those three roles, and you know, what is the difference between, again, the $49 little ring kit
Sure.
and the high level?
Everything, you know, the lighting is key.
Yeah.
You know, you have a 3-point light on you,
Yeah.
you know, front, back, and sides.
Yeah.
That really make us all look good.
Yes.
Lighting is what we
Yeah.
all, just
Yeah.
like your ring.
Wash me out.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. We all are trying to look our best.
Yes.
Sound is so key, as we
Yeah.
all see and know. When you're on a Zoom, you know, something's, you know, garbly and bouncing, and
Yeah.
you know, here you have crystal clear sound
Yes.
that is, it's at a high quality. And then all of your video content, you know, again, it's the quality and the level of the equipment that is used,
Yes.
so that you are producing seamless
Yeah.
delivery.
Yes, and so when you have live music,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and which a lot of people are trying to do, and when it's the kind of the home Zoom, it's kind of like garbled and like
Right.
it's a little delay and it's kind of awkward. How does that work with live music?
So everything goes through our feeder.
Okay.
So we have a control panel.
Yeah.
And everything is fed through the control panel. So the control team, which
Yeah.
you'll see,
Yeah.
they are able to control
Yeah.
who's speaking when, what's going in, whether it's video
Yeah.
content, music content, you know, camera,
Yeah.
and they're able to control it. They're able to control the volume,
Yes.
the depth of it.
Yeah. So they could mute me if I'm talking too long.
I need that.
Okay.
They try and mute me just in
Yeah.
general.
Okay. Got it. That's said enough. Tom.
Right.
Okay. So talking about team, and again, I don't want to overwhelm. I'm always worried because we give a lot of digital education every time we do these events. You know, there's a list of like 10 different roles here, and for the virtual wedding, you know, maybe it's only 4 of these roles or 3 of
Correct.
these roles. Again, audio, light, sound, and again, I always like the event producer that's like giving, I call it the talent to the cue when we're starting and all that.
Sure.
So what are these key roles? And then maybe we could give a little wave in the back. I don't know, for my crowd here of the
Yeah, you
behind
guys
the
see, you
scenes.
see the photo, and
Yeah.
I'll show you a live one. There they are.
Okay,
There's
yeah.
everyone.
Hi,
So
guys.
got Meredith on the right.
Yeah.
She's the producer. She's
Hi,
has run this
Meredith.
whole entire
Yeah.
event today.
Yeah.
So, and then the whole team there from to the left is graphic,
Yeah.
tech, lighting, and sound.
Yes.
So they all work together, and they're all feeding into
Right.
the control panel so that the right information is fed.
And it doesn't have to be like in the studio.
It does
can
not.
be in Florida. It can be anywhere.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
So, and you can be in another location
Yes.
and feed it through the control panel
Okay.
here.
Got it.
We can also go and build a stage and a set
Yes.
there if needed, but
Yes.
it can be done.
Okay.
You know,
and that's when we
off
talk about
location.
my 3 circle slide in the middle of the control. That's really where you're like cueing, like move to this camera, move to
Correct.
live. I know Pamela, and Pamela, I know you're here remotely, our editor, who's going to feed in questions from the group. It might be way too hard for me to actually look at the questions and talk to you and like see these through cameras. So Pamela,
I
you're
have
there.
a few for you.
And then I'm so excited that I don't have to stress about like the video or audio not working because I have this full team. So Pamela, before I go on, is there any questions from the group? I know we
Yes, I have a few.
Okay.
I have a few. So going back to Tom, you were talking about different types of events and specifically galas, but you mentioned a bunch of others. What types of events are really well suited for virtual or hybrid treatment?
A corporate event is perfect. We have done a executive board meeting where they came in and literally the chairman of the board filmed here just so that he was at a much higher quality level and that he controlled and moderated the whole meeting.
Yeah.
And it was just to make sure he could deliver the important message that he needed to do.
Because it is stressful when I'm presenting and I have
trying to figure out your computer.
I have Kylie in the background. I'm on text and I'm like, you know, we had a big event with Mindy Weiss and then like Mindy got kicked out of the meeting. I'm like, oh my God, now what do I do? I didn't have these great people here to help me. So especially a big board meeting with a big company.
Yeah, and literally one guy, and you don't sit there and do what you need to do.
Yes.
You do
Be
your
the
message.
talent.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. The artist of the house.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's a perfect example. And then the fun ones, you know, from a social or, you know, we've had a birthday party. We did a 7-person birthday party.
Yeah.
That was really cool and spread out.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, 7 people, I should say, I'm sorry.
7 people here. Yeah.
In-house. And then they, you know, did a broadcast. And it was, I want to say they ended up having like 70 something, you know.
I think we've all been on those Zooms where there's like 100 people and then everyone talking over each other.
It's
and
too much.
You just can't do it. Yeah.
But you know, this way they had the music feed.
Yeah.
They got to do the whole birthday sing.
Yeah.
You know, which it was all controlled. You know, everyone was going up, being able to talk to specific people. You know, on the virtual.
Yeah.
Virtual, doing all their wishes.
Yeah.
That was great. Like, you know, it's the interaction. It's a level. It's a special, you know, monumental birthday.
Yeah.
Like we were going to do a big blowout.
Yeah.
We can't. Let's do the next best thing.
Yeah, I mean, milestone birthdays, you know, again, I probably didn't do the setup for PartySlate up front because I was so excited about being in this virtual studio. But we're one of the first platforms to really celebrate all types of events, not just weddings. And we love our weddings, trust me, it's 50% of PartySlate. But the milestone events, the creative bar and bat mitzvahs, the fundraisers, these are things I know myself personally. I've planned many of these events. Like we work so hard on them and we want to raise the bar. We want new ideas. We want to find new event partners that can help us. And so the goal of PartySlate was really to elevate everyone's game and to really feature the best event professionals in the country. So
yeah. And you guys do an amazing job with that.
Thank
and
you.
we love it. We jump on and try and utilize you guys to help us. You know,
I think you might have the most photos of any profile because you guys were on so early. So you know, you have hundreds and hundreds of events. And again, when your team is working with clients, they can look at, oh, here's a bar mitzvah, here's this. And again, your website's beautiful, your Instagram is incredible, but it's really a portfolio sharing tool.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. It's a whole nother layer. And then it's also like a reinforcement where it's not us saying, you know, look our work, it's PartySlate.
Yes.
You know, so it's a great platform.
We're big fans.
We love it that you guys do that.
We talked a little bit about.
Julie, can I break in with a couple more questions before you abandon me again?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Pamela, we're not going to abandon you. Don't worry.
Okay, Tom, can you speak to the idea? I know that it's amazing if people can come there and use your beautiful studio, but does BlackOak, the technical production part of your team, do they operate out of different venues? Are there services available not only at the Garrity.
Absolutely. Yes, the Garrity is just because it's under our house.
Yes.
But no, they 100%, 90%, 99% of their work is out of this building.
Yes.
So they
I've
will
always wanted to know this
go
question.
everywhere
like,
and anywhere.
I never know the right term for like a technical AV company. Like, and again, event production. There's so many different words in this industry, and many people don't understand what a producer is or what the role of a producer is. And so, what do you call BlackOak? What is the category of company?
Audiovisual.
Audiovisual. Okay, I just
mean,
want to make sure, like,
really,
I'm not, using the
really,
wrong words. Yeah.
Right. It's really a technical production
Yeah,
house.
technical production.
Right. But
Audiovisual is what consumers, people planning parties,
correct.
understand.
That's what they understand,
Yeah.
recognize, and is the most easiest to connect
Absolutely.
to.
And I think one thing, I know Pamela knows this about me. I always go into a party, and if it's too bright, I'm the person like turning the lights down and like taking light bulbs out.
Good. Always do that.
Lighting is also, again, for a physical event, a virtual event, so important. Projection mapping, all these new technologies, which are not just like the lights themselves, they're connected to computers and a control center and everything else. And so I think that's another developing area that people don't understand, number one, to budget for those things, and number two, how big of an impact a big AV lighting component can have on an event.
Right.
It's one of my pet peeves, like when I'm sorry, I hit my microphone. I might get yelled. It's one of my pet peeves when I go into an event that's absolutely stunning, and then it's like washed out. Like
Correct.
it just, yeah.
It's like someone, fix these. You go to someone's home and you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
And you go looking for a dimmer and they don't have a dimmer.
Yeah.
How do you not have a dimmer?
Like, get the candles out. Yeah. So Pamela, I don't want to ignore you, but what?
No, I have one more, and then I'll go off for a bit, and then I've got more for later.
Okay.
But for now, Tom, I'm wondering if you can speak to the value of pre-recorded content that you're going to use during an event and pairing it with live content.
Yeah, so that is highly advised. Especially, it takes out all the errors that can happen live, and it gives you. It has pros and cons. Gives you the error factor removal, but it also takes away from your spontaneity and your just where you can feed off of each other and have a little bit more fun. But it's more highly recommended than not. Yeah. It's best to take, especially if it's a serious situation or an awards presentation or a special message that needs to be brought out, do it pre-recorded. Yeah. It could be brought in, it could be modified, it could be tweaked, in all different ways, from length, removal or adding of specific word or a message,
I mean, I always say the biggest moment at a fundraiser is what I call the ask. Yeah. And the ask is most effective with a compelling story. And you can have a great speaker, and that's fine, but the video that is produced, and I hate to say it, but like some people cry, and like
what you want.
You do want that, because you have this captive audience, and you want to connect them with the purpose of the fundraiser or whatever. Even if it's a corporate event, you want to connect some way. So I think the combination of pre-recorded or produced video with the virtual event, again, that takes it to the next level.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it shows it. It's smoother and it's easier on the presenter.
Yes. Okay, Pamela, do you want other questions?
No, go for it.
Okay, I'm not ignoring you, Pamela, because this is part of the fun, that I can go back and forth. Pamela's at home, we're down here, and I don't have to stress about losing her. Hopefully the Wi-Fi doesn't go out. And I don't have to worry about Wi-Fi here, which is great. So I'm going to really quickly just share my screen, because we have some incredible virtual resources available on PartySlate. And I also want to brag a little bit about your amazing profile pages that you have on PartySlate. So just to show 2 profile pages, and again, those of you who don't know, PartySlate, you can create a free profile page if you want more exposure, more boosting. How we make money so that we can continue is premium memberships.
Right.
But on these profile pages, again, you can see this is BlackOak Technical Productions. You can scroll down and you can see there's recognition, awards you've won, a great intro video. I have not watched it recently, but I'm sure, knowing what you guys do, that it's fabulous.
Scott made it.
I'm sure he did. Not to stereotype, but like most tech guys also know video editing, and I'm like, oh, I need a video editor, PartySlate, but I can't afford one. So, okay. So, and then you go to your gallery for BlackOak. You have 62 beautiful events, and this is the event you were talking about, this micro wedding that you had here.
One of the two, yeah.
Yeah, and again, I love to see this, that you not only can see the stage, but you can see them interacting with people.
Right.
And so that was like the Zoom of all their guests.
Correct.
And they could actually interact real time with them.
Yep. They did a ceremony, a cake cutting, champagne toast.
Yeah.
And the interaction was awesome.
It's amazing. And so
a photo op. They did a really fun photo op. You're seeing that at the bottom right.
And you see there's a small group of people, obviously either social distanced or part of the same family that can, they have masks.
All family.
The day we're living in. Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
I love that.
The
Those
guys,
suits.
it was awesome.
And then also what, again, one thing that people that are new to PartySlate, we always include all the credits. That's like one of our core values is credits.
So important.
So important, because on Pinterest and Instagram, sometimes people get left off. And so when you upload an event to a PartySlate profile, you can credit the photographer. Love Bob and Don Davis. I see these shots.
They're
hi, Bob and Don.
amazing. Right.
Love
Seriously,
them. The Garrity, which is the venue we're in. Obviously, you guys did the design, Kehoe Designs, BlackOak Productions, and then the catering company you worked with, I see, is Bricks, or they selected Bricks Catering, etc. And then again, Plantscapes. Oh, we need to create a profile for Plantscapes. And so I just want to say, like, the way you guys can promote your business on PartySlate is amazing through photos and videos, but now we also added a services section for virtual events, because we're seeing this pop up all the time. There's creative groups. So now when you come to PartySlate, we actually have a virtual event landing page that's SEO. The people on my call know I love SEO optimization, search engine optimization. So I am kind of techie.
You are so
okay,
techie.
so yes, I'm techie. Not really. My team's laughing right now, trust me. So this virtual events, you can actually see our virtual event checklist that Pamela created. She interviewed you and other event professionals on what you need to do for a virtual event. We'll actually add something after this on hybrid events, which there's some nuances. And then we also have a great list of virtual event planners, AV and tech companies, as you said, experiences. There's like mixologists and bartenders and like entertainment, fun things that are coming in, and also just amazing articles. And of course, again, picking the Zoom or picking the, whether it's Bevy or Click Meeting, that is less important than pulling together the whole strategy for your virtual event. But of course, you need to have that component, otherwise we could not interact. So that's.
Can I just jump in?
Sure.
One of the things I think I love about you guys, seriously, like, you just listed all the different resources, and the planners love it, because they love to know and look and find new resources and to see, and then you get to see the work of what they're doing and the links and the connections.
Absolutely.
And then
about 10% of our traffic is event professionals looking at other event professionals, and then the other 90% are engaged couples. They are, I call them mitzvah moms and dads, but mainly the moms that are planning. No, I'm just kidding. And then also the gala hosts, the corporate hosts, and then of course, I don't want to underestimate milestone birthdays. We get so much traffic to PartySlate because people aren't writing about 50th, 60th birthday parties, and so the content that this community has uploaded is very popular on PartySlate. So again, and the Kehoe Designs, again, is also beautiful. I do want to brag that our tech team just added multiple cover photos. So now you can see, I think Kim uploaded 5 stunning cover photos. And the great thing about this is you can show your mitzvahs, your corporate events, your galas. Again, we believe all inspired events inspire people, and it's not just weddings. Weddings get a lot of attention. We love weddings.
Right.
Corporate, there's a ton of money in corporate, not this very second, but it will come back after coronavirus. And again, these virtual events, I do think there's money to be made and value to add through these events. So that's what I just wanted to show there. And again, brag a little bit. You guys have a lot of press and you have beautiful videos. And between credited events and your own events, you have over 400 events.
Wow.
So, and it's a very popular page. So I'm going to stop sharing now and go back to the presentation. So what we can do to help with virtual resources is, number one, we're going to provide a recap of this interview. Pamela is going to be writing an article. We're going to get some more questions asked for the group, and then we'll add that and send it out to you. We also have this new list, again, of virtual event producers, people that do gifts, experiences that you can search on now. And then I also want to remind people we have a PartySlate concierge. It's actually Marley, who you know.
Oh, yeah.
I love Marley.
Yeah, she's the
so
best.
if people need help, whether you're an event professional or party host, you can actually just click on PartySlate and fill out what you need, and we'll do the searching for you. So we get, that's at least 10, 20, 30 a day, people asking for, like, I just need a great bar mitzvah planner. Who should I use? And so we're happy to make those suggestions.
That's cool.
So, okay, let me go back. So finally, I guess I jumped ahead of myself, Tom.
Uh-oh.
I might get fired. I already looked through how you can add virtual services to your, all you got to do is log in and click virtual services under the services section so that you can actually get found in the directory when people are looking for virtual event planners or producers or AV companies. Also, before we go back to questions, Pamela, I also want to say for the new people on the call, we always get 100 or 200 new people. If you don't have a PartySlate profile, we are happy to create it for you.
You want one.
You want one.
You want
again,
one.
it is free. And again, you might say, oh, how do we make money? That's what my venture capitalists say. How we make money is about 10% have an elevated presence on the site. And start with a free profile, get a feel for it, add some events, and then see if you want an enhanced profile page or more exposure on the site.
It's worth
also, thank you. Also, I will say the virtual event services, you know, we don't have that many because this is a new thing we just rolled out. So if you,
it's a new thing
we're all
living.
figuring out, like, what is this thing?
Right.
Feel free to log in and actually add that to your profile page. So Kehoe has already done that, but there's probably only 100 out of our maybe 10,000 event professionals that have yet clicked that they do virtual services. So I just talked to someone today in Minneapolis, you probably know her, that's doing a lot of bar and bat mitzvah creative things. So if you have these services, please make sure you can be found on PartySlate, because we're doing a lot of SEO optimization, marketing, events like this to promote this as a new category. And again, I'm most excited. I am getting sick of just looking at the screen about these hybrid events.
Yeah.
I know, I think
the new better.
It's a new thing. It is. And I think having 50 people, even an outdoor event, I don't know if you guys have done an outdoor event yet.
Yeah, we did an outdoor wedding last weekend.
Okay, good. And the outdoor events with the virtual component, I think that's, people are going to do that more and more.
Especially now, you can do tents.
Yes.
You can do, you know, larger groups.
So Pamela, I'm going to go back to you. I am not ignoring you. I know there's a lot of questions coming in to the Zoom and to you, and so I'm going to turn it back to you for our kind of our Q&A session.
Okay, so I have a few more. So one question is around the length of time. Like, is there a recommended event duration? People get fatigued looking at their screens all day. Like, what do you recommend?
Hopefully not on this one, but on other events. They get,
An hour or less.
Yes.
You really want to stay the hour mark.
Yes.
That's.
I've actually seen some of these that are trying to do these like day-long conferences. What really ends up happening is there's individual sessions, like an hour, an hour, an hour. You could come in and out.
As long as you break it up, that's great.
Yeah.
And we have a couple, we're doing a 3-day session for a company, or for a show, a conference, I should say.
Yeah.
And they are breaking it up.
Yeah.
So, you know, morning, afternoon, late afternoon. So as long as you break it up.
Yeah. Right, you just don't want that continuous, never-ending Zoom. I think what we have found is like an hour and a half max, and even for internal meetings, when we've been doing like a half-day planning session, we're breaking it up into like 2 sessions of 90 minutes because it's just too much.
Yeah, then you lose them.
You lose people. Yeah, and we need our best thinkers thinking. So, Pamela, other questions?
So one challenge of the virtual events when it comes to portfolio building is how do you show the work you've done on a virtual event, and then I'm going to pair that question with one that's come up a few times about how to engage photographers when it comes to a virtual event.
So good. So the thing about photographers that I'll say is, number one, we have a photographer. I think you had a photographer here. You're taking pictures, you're taking video. If you have an event, we're actually doing a virtual wedding with David Tutera on Saturday night. We're surprising 2 frontline workers, and we're showing, they know about it, but it was a surprise that David was planning it. And there is a photographer that's going to be there. They're going to have 20 people there. They are shooting, they want the memory, so they're going to have a photographer. But what I don't see is, sometimes I think, oh, the photographer would take a picture of the screen. You know, I'm like, no, you can just do a screenshot.
but you could see the interaction, like you did with Kevin and Adam. And you know,
but when you have people in person, you still need a photographer. When you have just this, like the board meeting, you probably didn't have a photographer.
Not a board meeting, but a birthday celebration we did.
Yes.
You know, even for a small 7-person, you still have a photographer.
You want the memories.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can do, it's better for them to photograph, you know, the screen. Yeah. But you want a photographer. Yes. You can't capture it by yourself.
Absolutely. And that wedding that you just did with Bob and Don Davis, I saw those pictures. They're on the profile page, and they're beautiful. And you know, PartySlate is a storytelling platform because events are storytelling, and the stories that Bob and Don took of the event from, yes, it was the ceremony. Yes, it was behind the scenes of what was going on, but also them interacting with the Zoom and their expressions. And so, Yeah, I think it's important to capture
It is, and they're professionals, and they know how to maneuver around and through, a video, production,
Yes.
broadcast situation. They know how to work with it.
Yes.
So it's those professionals that do the best.
Yeah, and then also, I know this may not have been a question, but my question on videographers. So actually, you're capturing the event, but I'm wondering, again, as the events get larger, you still want a videographer that can actually capture the real event with the digital event.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're going to capture things that we don't.
Yeah.
And they're going to capture the crowd and the audience, the experience of the guests that the broadcast is not.
Yes.
And so
it's actually different, even though these cameras are so high quality.
Right.
This is a broadcast, and that is more of a storytelling medium.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're going to really
I answered my own question.
Yeah. I'll just be quiet.
Yeah, I could actually do the whole interview myself. No, I'm kidding.
It is going to be the Julie Show.
Yeah, right. I do want that talk show. I don't know what it's going to be on, but I don't know. Pamela, what other questions do we have?
Yeah. Okay. Tom, can you talk about the coordination, especially across different states, for a large event that might have a catering component, a decor component dropped off to people who are going to be joining virtually? How do you coordinate all of that? What resources do you need to do that?
Sure. So like tonight with the coordination of the catering, the decor, and the actual virtual presentation, ESP presents, orchestrated all of that.
Yeah.
It is so involved in labor. That's nothing of what we do.
Because you really do need an event planner.
You truly do.
You need an event planner, because
so
it's
many
not
elements.
like, BlackOak is going to do like the invitation.
No.
Like, so again,
No.
I'm sure they could do it and do
No,
a great job,
no,
guys.
no.
But you need someone that's going to be coordinating with the client, again,
Correct.
depending on the level of event, to actually
There's
think through all of the arms and legs of the
so
event.
many moving parts.
Moving parts, that's
Yes,
a better way to say it.
There's so much. And so that you definitely need your event planner. And Pamela, tell me the first part of your question.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, just talking about the coordinating of that when it spans multiple states and very large numbers of people to have a food drop or decor drop on the same day. How does that work?
So one thing, like that we did with the decor drop for the other one is we ship the boxes, and so everything is done as a dry good decor package.
Yeah.
It was a placemat.
Even the flowers?
It was a freeze dried.
Oh, wow.
The roses were freeze dried, which is great. They're beautiful. A centerpiece, champagne glasses,
That's so great.
some nibbles. It was some almonds, 2 splits of champagne. Like, it was a great package that we could, ship, and the guests received it a day or two before the event. And then coordinating, you can then coordinate with a caterer in multiple cities. You can have it where either a specific restaurant you can pick up at a location, or have a caterer deliver, just like we're doing tonight. And it definitely can be done. It goes back to that planner. You need that seasoned, experienced
and if
planner
you're a
who knows what
corporate,
they're doing.
a large corporation, and you're the event planner, that's fine. But I also think you need a planner, again, to control all of the logistics. And I have heard in New York, some of our premium members are actually having like spots where you can pick up your box. So let's say it's a very concentrated area. So if you can't get the delivery, or it's too cost prohibitive or whatever, you can either send and or have like a, I don't know what to call it, drop ship, but like a place you pick up, your gala dinner.
Exactly.
To your house.
Which would be great for the caterers.
Yes,
that'd be
absolutely.
awesome. Yeah, we're doing a fun one where the Wind Trust is doing a corporate event, hosting the opening game, for our Cubs, and shipping out custom boxes to their top clients.
Fun.
And so everyone's going to just watch the game together.
Oh, that's
the
great.
first like 10 minutes of opening, and everyone's going to receive a great package box and have a toast, and they're done.
That's
It's
nice.
like a 10-minute virtual situation.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's creating this experience.
Right.
We've all been locked up and by ourselves or with small groups, and it's just feeling connected to a larger community. And again, I do see like the corporate, the gala, yes, the social. We've already seen a lot of the social kind of happen with the virtual weddings, but this is taking the social events to the next level. Yeah,
That's what we need to do.
Pamela, more questions.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if you can share some creative ways that you have, you touched on a little bit earlier, but if you have some examples or more detail about how to connect those virtual events, or if it's a hybrid event, how to connect the attendees that are joining from home with the ones that might be there in person, or if they're all virtual, how do you create that interaction between them?
Sure. So the large screen interactions, so the screens and the cameras allow the presenters or the audience that's in-house to be able to interact, talk, and engage with the virtual guests. And then the virtual guests, just like I'm looking at you now, Pamela, and it's easy for us to interact and talk and converse. So I can go up to a big screen and see you guys on a 16 by 9 foot screen. So we're looking at multiple people, but large scale. So you're not, it's not too small or too busy. And interact and be like, oh my gosh, hi Pamela, and and it's a constant feed. It's a back and forth feed, and I'm sure, like you said, my team is probably cringing in the background because I'm not explaining correctly, using the right terminology. But it's just that interaction. So
that's great.
Yeah. So here we're seeing. Is this live right now? So we're showing the stage set that we're all on, just to give you a wider span or view of it.
Yeah, and back here, I love these I don't know what this is called, the LED screens that you can change out and customize. And I know
have it constantly going.
These look like they're not, again, when sometimes the camera faces, it can be washed out, but these screens look really great.
Crisp,
crisp on camera.
And that's what you need. You need the crisp, the tense. I mean, yeah, it's a high level, of the LED that you need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's the pinpoint.
And then I guess one question that I always get about these kind of virtual events are, what do you think the trends, like what the next year will bring? What do you think is next for these kind of hybrid events? So the world's starting to open back up, but even if let's say vaccine comes in January, really exactly, that's praying.
Right.
And it takes some time. I do think some elements will really continue to stay. My husband works for Google. He's a road warrior. Maybe he'll travel half as much as he used to because he can do some more of these virtual events. Like, what do you think is going to be next for virtual events?
I do believe we are heading into the new better, is the new term, is what I've heard. This is the new world, and we're figuring out how to make it better.
Yes.
And it is, I think, just what you said. We're going to have this hybrid event. It seems foreign to us now because it's just brand new. We have been escalated into the tech world for the last 3 months where so many, what has been done has always been done, but it's now hit the mass market and has really been, put on full speed ahead in the last 3 months. It's going to become the norm because there's still going to be a large contingency that wants to stay home, or not even so much stay home, but keep a distance.
Yes.
And they would rather be at a 20-person event. Great, I'll go with 20 people and watch this event and attend this event that's connected to, maybe multiple venues.
Yes. I've also heard people talk about if it's a 200-person event, could it be 50 people at each location, but they're connected together.
Right. It's, streaming all 4 of them. We are trying to create an event like that right now for Pause here in Chicago, so that 4 events are streamed together. So they have exactly that, 50 people at each venue, and then it's all within the city close by, so the co-chairs can bounce between all the events. They could do their pledge, and everyone can be seeing it. Everyone's interacting.
Yeah.
But the whole mix of the hybrid, the interactive, live in, virtual, that it will be, the norm. That is what we're seeing. That's what clients are booking for next year. Like we have a lot of bookings already for the fall of this year, and they're all saying, okay, now we're getting it, we're seeing it, and
there is a lot of education on this. Even this webinar, we have probably 10–15% of corporate party hosts, people that are working at corporations that are learning this. So there's a lot of education. Maybe corporate hosts are more advanced, but with social hosts and engaged couples, that this is an element, just like you have a photo booth or something else, an element you can add on or layer on to your event. And I think, it might bring even people overseas closer together that couldn't come in for the event. Forget coronavirus, it could just change the way we interact.
Yeah, and just a few good couple minutes, because that's really half the time what you spend with a lot of the guests is a few minutes.
Yes.
So you go into a great booth and you have a great conversation with someone, and it's like, great to see you.
Yeah.
And you're out.
That's it.
Next.
My husband would love that. Like, he just wants 3 minutes and then he wants to leave the party, whereas I like to circulate.
You like to talk to everyone.
I'm the last one. I like shut down the
butterfly.
party. So, Pamela, I know there's a lot more questions coming in. We have about 10 more minutes, so maybe we can take three questions.
Okay, sounds good. So we have one about dialing it back, if you're an event professional that's really just starting out with doing virtual events, what are sort of the basic things that you should pay attention to?
The basic things are your audience and message. Then you want to really figure out what's the best, most efficient way of getting your message out there. How can you bring in a professional on a reasonable budget to help you execute?
And what would, so I know we talked about like the key role. So if it was a really stripped down kind of virtual or hybrid event, what would be, I know sound is so important, visual, what do you need?
You need lighting and sound are going to be your two key components. Yes. And those will be the most reasonable and controllable.
Yes.
So,
because I've been on those virtual bar mitzvahs where like the grandma hasn't muted. This probably happened to me. And you're like, you can't hear. So like the sound control is really important.
Right. And the key is the control. If we can control it so that, like with the wedding, like when everyone, was muted, and then at the right time, when the couple kisses, that it's, everyone's unmuted and they can hear, and they were saying to us like, oh my God, to feel it. And all of a sudden, they said it was silent, and then all of a sudden to hear all the cheers, right? They were like, oh my
Pamela,
God.
we expect you to do this at the end, to cheer us on.
So it's that, picking the right partner that can help put in the right team.
Yeah.
And whether it's just, one or two people, or it's a staff
team.
of 6, right?
Yeah.
So it's...
Other questions?
Can you share some of your lessons learned? I mean, you're not new to virtual or hybrid events, but because of the pandemic, lots of people are getting started. What have you learned along the way?
So much.
Tell us about like your blunders, like things that really went wrong.
No, every day. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, every day. Learning. Yeah.
And as I'm sitting here looking at my team, I have this tech team. I am tech challenged.
Yeah.
So I create all the blunders for these guys.
Yeah.
And
they take care of it.
Right, exactly. So I just show up, and then that's their challenge.
Yeah.
And then I also try and figure out what and how.
Yeah.
Some of the challenges that you learn from are your basics. It's how to know, your the control of your equipment. It's the controlling of everything from your muting, your sound, to the noise in the background. Things that you didn't think that you can control, but all of a sudden, I've got to, know what's going to come in the back door, or someone, what can you control? Learning, we had that situation, all of a sudden doing a presentation, and the overhead door goes up, and and you're like, oh my God.
That's happened to me where like my kids and my dog come in. I'm in the middle. There's 500 people on, and I'm like,
right.
Just kidding. Yeah.
And everyone likes it, and they like it at home.
They do like it. Then my phone lit up, like, keep doing those blunders.
Right.
I'm like, oh,
it's
great.
fun. It adds a personality and a character, and you have to have things relaxed. And you and I both are relaxed and chill, and and you just roll with it and you have fun.
Yeah.
So that's the best thing you have to do with blunders, and part of the learning process. You just got to roll with it.
What I didn't like was when I had 1,000 people on, and then everyone got kicked off, including our speaker. That was not fun. So we learned from that one.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Pamela, we have time for a couple more questions.
Okay. Yeah. So I've got some kind of specific questions about like the scope and size. So one person is saying that they had an event scheduled that had 2,000 performers performing for a group of 20,000.
Wow.
What is the scope? How big can a virtual event get before it becomes unmanageable with all of those different details that you want to control?
Good question. Then I would actually have to turn it back to my team to figure out, because it's all going to be on the platform, the capabilities of the platform, and how much of the feed that we do. 2,000 performers, how and where that's going to have to be, a series of pre-recorded, as well as you want to mix in live. So it would really be orchestrating a amazing show that's pre-recorded. It's probably like what we're seeing with some of the fundraisers that the musicians are doing.
Yes.
And you can do it really well, some from home, some from some studios, but it's going to be an orchestration of high tech, but the capacity of the platform is going to be key.
Yeah, and I think that it is really important, like we talked about the strategy, rethinking the event and what is the best way to get the message through or to celebrate the milestone with this new medium. Because I think if you just think like, okay, it's 2,000 and we're translating, what if you're thinking about, well, I think this would even be more effective. Maybe we could reach 5,000 people and raise even more money. So like, I think there's a new mindset. I think for PartySlate, you know, we love doing these launch events, and we're going to continue to do in-person events because we believe in person. There is nothing that can replace the networking, the relationship building, and the trust. But we are going to, you know, do these digital events and webinars as part of how we work because we're getting such positive feedback that people like them and it's adding value. So I think it's rethinking, like, again, like your strategy, what is it? And maybe even think bigger than you had before.
We did one of our first events, virtual events that we did was for Chicago Children's Choir. And it was a series of pre-recorded, and it was so cool because they did so many of the pre-recorded of the children performing in their homes, blended and created an amazing video. Then Josephine and her team came into the studio and performed live and moderated the whole performance. They reached 15,000 people.
That's amazing.
That is, because they have such a huge international reach, which was so impressive. I was blown away at the number, and I was like, how did our platform, you know, carry that? And, you know, and of course the guys were like, it's over your head.
You're on a need-to-know basis. Well, I think that's kind of one of the key messages with these hybrid events is you can still have an incredible in-person experience that's safe. And again, when we're after vaccine and everything, go back to the large-scale events. They're not going anywhere. We've had events since the beginning of time. It will come back. This will pass. I'm praying. But the hybrid, the virtual component, I do think, especially for fundraisers and corporate, you can think next level on how to reach more people. And I think it wasn't a priority before. Some were experimenting with live streaming, but this is really next level on even pulling more people in. So I'm very excited about it, but I also will say again, nothing replaces the in-person event. And I've had many people ask me about that, like, oh, events going away. Like, that's when the internet came out. I was very early doing internet. They're like, oh, there's never going to be stores anymore. There's not going to be banks anymore. So that isn't true. People want to connect, and there's that right connection. But I do think this will take in-person events to the next level and reach more people that couldn't come in person.
There's exactly.
So many. So anyway, I could talk all day.
Me
so
too.
we only have 3 more minutes. I also wanted to share, Pamela, unless there's anything else, I'm going to wrap up.
No, I mean, just positive comments. People love working with Kehoe. They're excited about virtual events making milestones meaningful again. So just lots of support.
Yeah, that's great. You guys, we're going to get through this together.
We all need to band together.
Yeah,
we
and
all need to support each other.
I know I say this every time, but I want to say it again. There's so many people hurting right now. There's, you know, furloughed employees. Every PartySlate has been impacted. It's going to be rough going, getting back to where we were before. But after, you know, being through 9/11, I'm an older founder, older CEO, being through 9/11, going through the financial crisis, I know this is different, but I also know that innovation is going to come.
100%.
Innovation is going to come across the board from times of crises or limited resources. And so I know there's going to be some good, really good things that come out of it. I know we're thinking about our business differently. You're clearly thinking about your business differently. So I'm always looking for the silver lining of the good things that are going to come out of the people that are really hurting right now. So my heart goes to you. What we've been trying to do at PartySlate is provide this amazing kind of platform of digital education and helping people move their business and their brand forward. So we're going to continue next week, moving from hybrid events. We're going to have the ultimate guide to Instagram marketing. And I know your team is amazing at Instagram marketing. And my team, shout out to everyone in the PartySlate marketing team. Amanda, our Instagram is incredible. We have learned so much. We're going to give that guide to Instagram Instagram marketing and growing your followers and your engagement. So that's next week. I think that's it. I just want to thank you, Tom, for showcasing how an amazing virtual event and hybrid event can come together, and also teaching me maybe some of the things that your team is teaching you. My team always teaches me. I always say I learn from my team. I hire people that are smarter than me. And so thank you for educating us, helping us understand this. We will wrap up all this content. We're
Great.
going to write an article. I know you're available.
Yes,
on your
100%.
As a resource. You can reach out on your Kehoe PartySlate profile page. And of course, for me, I'm Julie at PartySlate.com. If you need any help or questions, I'm available. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Julie. This
You're
is
amazing.
awesome. No, thank you for what you're doing for our industry.
Thank you so
Truly.
much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.